Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Straight cash, homie.
Hold on to your butts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Basement Monsters Game Day podcast on SportsZone Chicago. Final. It's a final. The Green Bay Packers beat the Chicago Bears 35-16 to take the number one seed in the NFC and a big bye and home field throughout. I'm pissed about the result. We saw what happened with the Cardinals and Rams game, which went final about the same time. The Bears will be in the playoffs at 8-8. They will be in the playoffs at 8-8, and I guess that's a positive. That's why I'm not so upset, but I am upset, Luke, because you saw it, the missed opportunities.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. There was a lot, and there was a missed opportunities, and there was a lot of things that the Bears got that could have went. You know what I mean? Like there was a jump, the false start. Like they were dodging bullets this whole game.
Right.
A turnover didn't come as a turnover. So there was things that were just leading up to like, oh God. And then it finally happened with the pick with Trubisky. But my thing is bigger is that the first half, I would say there's not too much to complain about. I mean, yeah, if you're a coach, of course you're going to find something to complain about, but you were in this game. You were at 8 points. You came out, you stopped them on the first drive. I mean, right then, but then you come down, then after that it's field goal. And it's just like, dude, you can't do it. Or field, they got, was it 16? So yeah, I mean, it's like you have to get those sevens, and you can't quarterback sneak it on fourth down along a whole drive and then get to the red zone and then kick a field goal. Like
you went for it on fourth down on that. It was a great drive. I thought it was going to be a great drive. I was like, this is a great drive.
Yeah.
This looks like a great drive. And then you went ahead and just went away from the run.
Yeah.
Like you went too much to the well. And they knew it. There were press coverage on the receivers. It was Allen Robinson and nobody else. They went to one receiver, and Allen Robinson had to beat the coverage, and he couldn't. He couldn't when the guy was draped all over him. I don't understand why you have David Montgomery in the backfield. First of all, I don't understand why you're in shotgun, right? Second, I don't understand why you don't use your running back who was getting out. Like even though there were certain points in the game where David would get the ball, he'd hit the hole, and there was no hole, and then he bounced it back, find his way to some yards. That's what he does. He finds the yards that aren't there as a running back. You can't teach that shit.
No.
All right?
Drive, yeah.
You know what I mean? So why wouldn't you use your best player on offense in that situation when you need the touchdown? I know we're in the playoffs. I'm happy about that. The thing is you had to treat this like a playoff game.
Yeah. If
we look at it like that, we're out of the playoffs in my eyes. Right, if we're going to take it like that, we're going to look at it like that. The Bears are done.
Yeah,
you got life for some reason or another. You still out of everything, through everything, you still have a shot to make some type of noise in the playoffs. Maybe one, maybe you get on a roll. Who knows? You're playing better. They were in this game.
They led the time of possession.
Yeah, they
kept them off the field as much as they could. They just couldn't convert.
They were in this game. The defense, huge mistakes. We're gonna go ahead and bring in three of our guys. I know Sean is pissed off by the missed opportunities. I saw some of his posts, and he was getting on Vildor. You got to make that pick, and he's right. But we're gonna bring in our guys, Sean Sierra, Jason Palmer, and Michael Halatak. Guys, how are you? It was look, I know what it is, and we're in the playoffs. But let's be real. If we wanted to treat this like a playoff game, which it was, the missed opportunities cannot be. And Sean, I saw you were going off a little bit because Eddie Jackson, Vildor, those are gifts that aren't frequently given to you. And you got to be able to capitalize. And Sean, I knew you were upset about it. What do you like going into next week? Who are they playing? The Saints,
I'm not sure. Mike
the
knows.
Saints or the Seahawks, whoever it is. You can't have those mistakes, Sean. You can't have those missed opportunities.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. End of story. Okay, you want you're paid as one of the best safeties in the NFL. You got to make that play. You got to make that interception. And Vildor, another thing. The thing that pissed me off. you played at a high level in college. Okay, a tip ball is a tip ball. Don't give me the fact that it's the NFL and things are fast. When a ball's tipped, you go and you make the play. Okay, I was so pissed off at their inability, and believe me, I'm not saying the defense that we lost because of those two plays. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is we lost a chance to make big plays and give our offense a shot to kick more freaking field goals. Okay, that's all I'm saying is make plays when you have the opportunity because you get a finite amount. And those things change. That could change the course of the game. That could change the outcome of the game. But we didn't do a very good job of that at all today, and that was really, really frustrating. Okay, the Packers were able to isolate the number 3 receiver on Danny Trevathan or another linebacker all day long. Okay, if you see this, then you need to get out of it. You go nickel. Make sure all your DBs are on someone, or go dime package. Throw in 2 nickel backs to make sure that you're not having linebackers up freaking wide receivers. Like that pissed me off. The first time I can understand. Okay, they found a glitch in the matrix. Good. Now you go and you change it when they got a 3 receiver set that you cannot have a linebacker out there. Roquan Smith, that injury hurt us big time. That hurt us.
And you're right. And Deion Bushel, I believe, was an inactive as well because I was thinking the same thing as you, Sean. Go switch the package. Just stay in nickel. And run it like that. Just bring in a big body guy or Houston Carson. Jason, me and you were messaging back and forth, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, oh my god! Like the fact that you were allowing Mitch on that interception in crunch time to try to make a play down the field when he's in the pocket he makes the most of his mistakes.
Yeah.
Why right there? Why revert back to in the pocket Mitch when we know in the pocket Mitch doesn't find success?
That's a question for the coaching staff of not putting your players in the best position to go with their talent. I think back to what I was saying on the pregame show. I was almost pretty accurate in terms of the score of what I thought would happen. And I said Mitch is going to throw one of them key Mitch interceptions. And the truth of the matter is, he really threw 2. The guy just dropped the ball on the 1, and they were lucky to come away with a field goal on that drive. But, the red zone offense for the Bears is absolutely atrocious. It's been atrocious all year. If it wasn't for our all-pro kicker, we wouldn't be getting 3 points out of a lot of these drives, man. They just cannot punch the ball in the end zone. And I'm sure Halitek is going to talk about this next. So I'm going to say something for him to get out of it. But how do you have your red zone offense and your biggest threat to red zone offense is Jimmy Graham? He's not even on the field. Mike, take it away.
Man, 1 touchdown in the red zone out of 5 or 6 trips. And that's the difference in your ball game. You take the ineptitude of the offense in the red zone and the missed opportunities on defense with those missed interceptions and blown tackles at the fourth quarter that really when Green Bay went out and iced the game, and that sums it all up. Ivan and I talked about this in the pregame show about backing in. And although I'm not a fan of the term backing in because if you made the playoffs, you earned it. But this was, on one hand, they didn't get their asses blown out until it was too late in the third quarter when Green Bay, they held them scoreless.
Right.
Yeah. Until the third, until the end when they blew that 4th down play. That was an atrocious 4th down call after they'd been successful 4 straight times. They're this far away from a 1st down. Run the damn ball with Trubisky like you did twice before. Get your 1st down and live to fight another down. And the game is still in the balance at that point. But as soon as that happened, all the air was let off of the sideline. It was just like a huge balloon deflating on the sideline. Absolutely terrible play calling, terrible execution on the defense. And Sean, you nailed it. When you had a wide receiver being protected by a linebacker, why the hell didn't they call timeout? And they stand up scoring a 73-yard touchdown, and it looked like boys playing against men.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, Luke, you had a question for Sean, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to me, the whole thing with this, the first half, I can't really bitch too much about. I think that they played good enough to be in it. They melted the time off the clock. They kept them, within striking distance. The second half, like I said, if they're going up and they're getting touchdowns on you, you have to be able to compete with these guys. You can't have your number one receiver getting as many balls as a typical number 3 receiver. Like Allen Robinson needed to be in here and have more touches on this ball, period. And I feel like they just didn't go deep enough and try to do it enough. And I guess maybe that's attributed to Mitch and maybe not having trust. What do you think about that?
It was, and I don't know. I couldn't tell if that was Nagy or Laser, but you're right in that Allen Robinson needs to be now you're in the playoffs. All right, this is a playoff game for all intents and purposes. All right, because you didn't know whether or not Arizona was going to lose. All right, so you just had to go out there and win, and you need your big stars to make plays. And Allen Robinson can't make plays if he's not throwing the ball. You don't have a chance with Allen Robinson, doing the special things that he does. Okay, unless you throw him the ball. And no targets in the first half was unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And I don't know whose fault that is. If it's Mitch's, if it's Nagy's, if it's Laser's, but all 3 of those guys need to be held accountable, and those questions need to be asked at the presser that should be coming up shortly. That needs to be asked. Why were there no targets for Allen Robinson in the first half? That was unacceptable. And I don't know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because then you have Jimmy Graham. You're down on the goal line and in the inside the 10, and Jimmy Graham's not on the field. The guy has the most red zone touchdowns for us this season, and he's not on the field. Who the freak is calling these plays? Because that sounds like a Nagy thing. Because Bill Laser seems to have been able to have put people in position, and I don't know about you, but man, if I have Cole Kmet, I have Allen Robinson, I have Jimmy Graham, and I have Javon Wims. Those the shortest guy in there is like 6'4".
Yeah.
Those are the guys. That's my 4 on the goal line. I'm from 10, 15 yards in, and then I'm David Montgomery in the backfield. I got 4 short. The shortest guy is 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". The tallest is 6'7". I'm throwing that ball up. Sometimes football is very, very simple, and coaches make it really, really hard because, again, they want to be the goddamn smartest person in the freaking room, and it's simple. It's simple, and they just outthink themselves, and they do a disservice to their team.
I want to go ahead and drill this point, Mike. We saw that on that drive before the atrocious play call on 4th down. They were willing to go for it on 4th down. I was sitting here and I'm telling Luke, I'm saying, man, this is a great drive. This is a great drive. It was a great feel. Prior to that, right? Let's go all the way back from the turnover to the drive after that. I believe they got into the red zone again. So, but let's start with the turnover. You're in the red zone. You're on 4th down. You're right there. Isn't this a playoff game? Aren't you playing to win? Shouldn't you have gone on 4th down in the red zone? As opposed to, and honestly, you pretty much had to go for it in that situation as well. But why not more in the red zone? Why not push the buttons of the Green Bay Packers? Why not push the issue and force them to be perfect coming back and have to score? You have to score at all costs. And for the Bears, it just seems like they're satisfied with 3. Mike, what do you like? Where does this come from, and how do they break that?
One of my notorious tweets that I have been putting up for years is the Bears offense. It just says turning touchdowns into field goals since 2006, and that's what they have done. And that last field goal. If you remember during the pregame show, Ivan, I was wearing a hat.
Yeah.
That hat went flying across the room because I was so aggravated that they did not go for it on 4th down and settle for that field goal. Between that and then the next drive where they ended up taking that nice long drive, going for it on 4th down twice, and then making that absolutely putrid play call. And I think was it Graham or was it Kmet? I think he should have gone inside and cleared the way for Robinson on that play.
It was Graham.
It was Graham, and so I think if you go back and look at it, Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that definitely, because you ended up with 2 receivers within like 4 yards of each other, I think that Graham absolutely ran the wrong route. He could have done a rub there, and Allen Robinson would have been wide open. And if Robinson wouldn't have been, Graham would have been.
Yeah, you know what, and that's can't happen. This is, first of all, there's two veterans. It's Graham and Robinson. You're not talking about rookies, all right? Vildor, you expect them. I still get pissed off at it, but you're at that level for a reason. But I digress. Graham and Robinson, those are veterans. You can't make those mistakes. You cannot make those mistakes, not in a game of this magnitude. And it just shows me that these guys aren't ready. These guys are not coached well. These guys or here's the thing that's even worse, is that they're getting directions from two guys, and that was confirmed earlier by Ian Rappaport, his tweet talking about Matt Nagy calling some more plays, getting more involved in play calling. That's a big issue. That is a big issue. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve two kings. You have to be one or the other, because you get in sync with one. He wants you to do a certain thing a certain way, but then another guy's going to call the plays, and he has different expectations. You can't have two play callers because they have different expectations, and it's mostly nuances that are the differences. The nuances are the differences, and those are the things that are huge. The smallest things are the hugest things, from your alignment to your alignment, assignment, and attitude. Okay. Those things are huge, and when you have two different guys calling plays, they have different expectations, and sometimes it would be very easy to forget who the hell's calling the plays, because you probably don't even know, and you don't even know, and so now you're doing something one way, and then there you go, and it's not exactly what you wanted.
Sean, show me the leader on the team, Sean. Who's the head on the team? You know what I'm saying? Who's the head? Because it's supposed to be the head coach. It's supposed to be the head coach, but when we talk about that, when we're talking about split play calling, and exactly what you said it perfect. We're talking about a locker room that has multiple voices in it. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a locker room that doesn't have somebody who's like, hey, we're going this way. This is who we are. This is what we're going to do. It just seems like head coach by committee, because we continue to hear Matt Nagy, we, until they're successful.
Yeah, I mean, they even showed the carnival wheel with the Nagy and all the moving pieces.
Right, exactly. Bears, so. All the moving pieces, all the mistakes. I just feel like, man, you can't trust this guy. You can't continue. And I know Ian Rappaport made a report. And Jason, I want to ask you this: you have a report coming out that Matt Nagy's pretty much safe and secure. The playoffs are there. We're 8-8. They haven't had a losing season, Sean. I know you remember us talking about that excuse that they could have in their back pocket.
Yep.
Jason, I don't believe that if you go to I believe they go New Orleans. Is it New Orleans or whoever you go to next? Mm-hmm. I don't believe the Bears.
Go to New Orleans, Ivan.
New Orleans, okay. I don't believe you go down to New Orleans in the Mercedes-Benz. It's a Mercedes-Benz Dome, right? Am I right?
Superdome. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
You don't go down there and come out with a victory playing like that, having those mistakes. And you know what? Having your coach, and we saw his grubby little fingers, like Sean likes to say, in on it time and time again, even up to the play that was successful, the shovel pass.
Shovel pass.
That was all Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
How do you keep this coach? Because I feel, and you were right on, Jason. Like I said, right on with your assessment of how this game was going to go out. How do you feel if going into next week this team loses the same way? Because I feel like they'll lose the same way, because this is who they are.
Well, I think they're going to.
How do you keep Matt Nagy around?
I think they're going to lose the same way, and there's no justification for keeping Matt Nagy whatsoever. I think the key to this whole thing is actually going to end up being the fans. I think the same vitriol that the fans showed after losing those 6 straight games and getting embarrassed by the Packers on national television, and the entire Chicago media and fans and social media were going in so hard on the Bears. That's what actually forced Matt Nagy to give up the play calling. We actually did that. We have to bring back that same energy to get him removed as the head coach, because if we don't, the McCaskey family will bring this guy back. It really is that simple. They will bring him back. But I think what happened is, the Bears started winning some games. They beat teams. I said, couldn't beat nobody else. Yeah, okay, you beat Jacksonville. Yeah, okay, the teams you were beating in that last little streak, they ain't gonna be in the playoffs no way. So what are we trying to be? Are we trying to be a mediocre franchise, or are we trying to be a franchise that's gonna go for the Super Bowl? Right now, the Bears are in football purgatory. That's not a good place to be in because you can't even get a good draft pick. It's just we're just in a bad spot. You cannot bring this guy back. You have to make some serious changes within this organization if you want to see the Bears do anything, and that includes Ryan Pace. That includes some of the scouts. That includes perhaps some of the assistant coaches. But Nagy has got to go, regardless of what happens next week.
Yeah, I'd second that. I think if you sit back and you look at this whole season up until this point, let's start at the beginning of the season, the Bears were barely winning games. Like, they weren't scoring in the third quarter. They were barely coming back in the fourth quarter. Then he makes that switch with Mitch and Foles. That blows up in his face for 6 games in a row. And then you win a couple at the end, and then you have another game like this. To me, it just doesn't seem like he has a firm grasp on things. It's kind of like, well, I'm the head coach and we'll do this, but then, okay, wait, no, you take it. No, hold on, but play my guy. But hold on, let's try this. Let me throw this play in there. So to me, it just goes to show that maybe, just give him his piece of plastic. Let him stand over there with his microphone and just bury his head in that piece of plastic. As far as being a head coach, I don't think he's cut out for it.
I agree. And just real quick, guys, let's think about the Bears season as a whole when you think about it. First game of the season, we should have lost to Detroit. The damn dude dropped the ball. Okay. Second game, we beat Atlanta because Atlanta is Atlanta. But they really should have lost that game.
That was the third game, Jason.
I'm sorry, that was the third game. I'm sorry.
They beat the Giants barely.
And they beat the Giants barely without Barkley. And then, the worst part about today was they had the advantages going their way. Green Bay dropped some pass. That was a short touchdown the dude had. Yep. They also dropped the interception. That would have taken 3 points off the board. And the officiating, while I thought was very good because they had some very tough calls to make, I thought they did a pretty good job. The Bears actually got some advantages in officiating because, Akeem Hicks could have been kicked out the game for what he did, for one.
Jason,
there was clearly a false start as well.
Jason, how many times have we seen that with Akeem, though? That's a problem. You can't have that. Like, I understand getting tough and being nasty with him, but you're talking about causing, 15 yards.
Potentially being ejected.
Exactly, potentially being ejected and hurting your team. Sean, I wanted to hit one of the Jason's points. I want to disagree with one of his points. I think they're okay with their pick. The thing is that they don't have a guy who knows what he's doing in the first 2 rounds. So regardless of what pick they have, even if it was a good pick, I wouldn't trust Ryan Pace to draft a quality player. I would think he would continue to do Ryan Pace things and be true to himself. Sean, I don't know where they go in the draft from here, whether they win or whether they continue to win or it's over next week. How do you figure they start the draft? Or let's just say, where do they start the process? Where do they begin to look to in the draft process coming next year?
Well, it depends on where they're at. I mean, if you can get a good quarterback, a guy you think could be your franchise quarterback, which I don't think they'll be able to just because they made the playoffs, so they're going to be in the middle of the pack. I would do that. And people will disagree with me, and that's fine. But then after that, I go after left tackle. We need a left tackle. Secure that offensive line. Make sure that offensive line is stout. First and foremost, you got to get a quarterback. And if you can't find your quarterback, okay, which again, I don't think you would be able to in this round, and then don't force it. All right. And that's the issue. Just what you said, Ivan. He's going to say, oh, well, this guy's a project and he could be our franchise quarterback. You don't want someone who could be your franchise quarterback, because then it's going to be just like Mitch. I need someone who's coming in that can be a franchise quarterback. That is going to sit for literally 1 season max. Okay. And then come in and take the reins and run with it. So if you can't get a quarterback that you feel is your franchise quarterback, which is the problem because his analysis on quarterbacks sucks, then So then, what are we going to? You know what I mean? So
man.
I'm thinking left. I mean, with left tackle, and you have to go with the best or second best offensive tackle, because I know one's going to be taken before the Bears, wherever they pick, 16, 18, whatever. Once that's finally settled, I say go offensive tackle, because I don't think you have you'll be able to get a game changing quarterback where they pick.
Mike, they have the Saints, right? They have the Saints coming in next week. They're going to the Saints next week. Me and Luke were talking about it. It wasn't all terrible. It was, but when it was bad, it was piss poor. I believe they have a shot against the New Orleans Saints. They might be without Kamara. If it's on Saturday, is it on Saturday?
We don't know yet.
Okay, so when we find out, hopefully it's on Saturday. If it's on Saturday, I think they're going to be without Kamara, which is a huge help. But not only that, you got to think about the injury to Drew Brees and such. From what you saw out there today, do you think the Bears have a shot next week?
Any given Sunday, man, absolutely they have a shot, but they gotta make the plays. We talked about this in the pregame show. The Bears had to finish. They could not settle for 3, and they did. How many times? And of course, how ironic or prophetic it was for the last play of the game for them to be short this far, be tackled this far from the goal line. But yeah, going into New Orleans, they played the Saints tough. Earlier this year, they took them to overtime with Foles as your quarterback. So can they win this game? Absolutely, they can. So they're playing the number they're playing the number 2 pick, but they're the number 7. So they're the last man in the playoffs, and they don't do brackets like they do in the NCAA basketball tournament. They reseed every round. So if the Bears happen to get by New Orleans next weekend, now they got to come back up and play Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And, they went from being absolutely blown out to holding Green Bay to 21 points for the vast majority of the game into the 2 late scores when, they had they went over on downs and the interception to ice the game. So, yeah, but the Bears have to be far more creative with their offensive play calling. They were too damn predictable. They didn't throw the ball more than 8 yards down the field until with the middle of the third quarter. And again, we talked about this in the pregame show. Early on, you had to take a deep shot to loosen up the Green Bay Packers defense. We didn't do it.
Guys,
we didn't do anything with Allen Robinson until late in the third quarter, and that's what killed this team. But yes, they can win it down in New Orleans this weekend.
Guys, I'm going to stay optimistic. I'm going to try to stay optimistic. We have one more week. Sean, I know you got to get out of here. All right, guys. You know what? Thank you for coming on real quick. Sean, go ahead and let everybody know where you can find you online.
Guys, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, all one handle at the Sean Sierra. And you can catch me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time on Sean and Maya in the morning, right here on SportsZone Chicago.
Jason, go ahead.
You can catch me on Twitter online at JCoyden, JAYCOYDEN. And you can catch me on Sean's show tomorrow. I'll be on at 11 on Monday and Fridays. And then my show, the What's Up Cuz show with myself and Lance Irvin. We air tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Lots of Bears talk, lots of college football talk. Our guest will be Robert Griffith of the Big Ten Network, and we'll talk about the college football semifinals that took place over the weekend and preview the championship game between Alabama and Ohio State.
That's going to be a good one. Mike, go ahead. I'm
definitely rooting for the Buckeyes in that game. But yeah, I'm just tired of seeing Alabama win all the time. Since we're in the Midwest, it'd be nice to see the Big Ten finally pull off a championship. Adam Hogue just quoted Matt Nagy saying that he told his team that it's okay to feel like crap right now, but he wants the team to turn the page and lock into the Saints starting tomorrow. Good advice. And they got at least 5 days to prepare. We don't know whether or not that game will be on Saturday or Sunday yet. As for me, you can find me at Texter420 on Twitter. You can find me, Michael Halatek, on Facebook. And you can also find me at Halatek Hall on both Twitter and Facebook. You can catch Ivan and me live on the Halatek Hall show Wednesday from 6:30 to 8. And we at least have one more barely pregame show that we have to prepare for. Hopefully the Bears play Sunday so I can attend my own pregame show. Or at least the Saturday night game. So that'll be fun. But again, Ivan, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Sean. Well, Sean looks like he's gone already, for giving Ivan and me the opportunities that you've given us to talk about Bears football all season long.
Yeah, you guys have been really doing great work with that. And I love the name of the show, and I love the work that you guys have been doing. I'm out of here too, but Mike, I got to get me a sweatshirt just like you, because I feel the exact same way living here in Wisconsin. So you're going to have to definitely hook me up so I can get that same sweatshirt, man.
You know, I wish I could remember where the hell I got it. I think I saw a one of those little banner ads on Facebook, and I went ahead and ordered it. My wife laughed at me today because my wife, I'm in a mixed marriage, man. My wife grew up in Wisconsin, so she's a Packer fan. And she goes, I'm surprised you're not wearing a jersey. I said, this was too appropriate to wear for today. So thank you. Appreciate it, Jason. Thanks for the compliments about our show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hard being a Bears fan up here in Kenosha County, boy, I tell you.
Where do you live, Jason?
I'm in Kenosha County. I'm right outside the city.
Lester Wilfong from Windy City Gridiron lives out by you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of us up here, man. So, I mean, these games are always fun, Ivan, because you get to see people wearing Packers gear, other people wearing Bears gear. But, I eventually want to be able to talk some shit. Jesus. Take care, guys.
All right, hey, thank you, guys. See you later.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. All right, guys. That was Jason Palmer. Shouts to you, Jason Palmer and Michael Halatek. That was a great little segment there, man. I'm optimistic. I know what's coming. I know what could happen. I know what could happen. Just exactly what happened there, the lack of execution, the lack of taking advantage, that could happen.
Yeah, it's tough. You're going back-to-back weeks with two gunslingers. I mean, you could see Drew Brees, putting up 4 or 5 touchdowns pretty easy.
Easy.
And then if you got, I understand what they were trying to do. Try to keep the ball out of Rodgers' hands. I get it. But 5-yard plays and 3-point field goals are not going to win you a game.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Hopefully Roquan comes back next week because we're going to need him.
Yeah, that'll be huge.
We're going to need him. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're going to actually get to you guys at half of the last game. I'm going to go ahead and take a little break, get some tea because I'm starting to get hoarse. Get a little hoarse here. We'll get to you guys at the half of the Sunday Night Football game and in the post. Until then, I'm Ivan Vargas. That's Luke Nettles. This has been the Basement Monsters Game Day podcast on SportsZone Chicago.
Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Straight cash, homie.
Hold on to your butts.